Fox News alert, President Joe Biden's announcing he's dropping out of the race. God must have spoken because he said the only thing that was going to make him bow out was the great Almighty. How did Joe Biden tell the world he wasn't running for re-election? He wrote us a letter. He said, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. The guy who got more votes than anybody in American history is leaving after one term? Why is it in the best interest of your country for you to leave, Joe? Well, we know the answer, but why don't you tell us? Is it because the last 4 years have been a disaster? Is it because you're mentally unfit? Or is it because you were pushed out in a bloodless coup? I want to hear him say it. Because if later in the week he says, I'm not running because I can't win, that's not how we do things. Democrats don't get to push candidates through the primary. Millions of Americans vote for them. And if it doesn't look like they can win, rich guys at the convention pick somebody else. That's not what we do in the United States. The entire Biden presidency was a cover-up that got exposed on debate night. And now they want to pick another puppet? That's why we have primaries. This should have all been hashed out in a primary. But they rigged it so no one could expose Joe. And then they kicked RFK Jr. out of the Democratic Party so he couldn't wind up with the second most delegates. But this isn't close to over. Biden endorsed Kamala Harris on his way out. Then Hillary endorsed Kamala Harris, obviously, because she's a woman. But Barack didn't. Here he is, quote, we will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Who do you think is going to run that process? The convention's in Chicago. Kamala might have a big head start on the nomination, but she's not a sure thing. Here's how this convention's supposed to work now. All of Biden's delegates are now uncommitted. This nomination's wide open, and it has to be resolved by mid-August. Primetime interviewed President Trump and his VP nominee, J.D. Vance, this weekend, and this is what they told us about an open convention. You don't even know who you're running against.
No.
You could be debating Kamala